special, episode 55. I'm here with my co-host, Lwatile, and we have yet another special guest, a man by the name of Omphile Ramela. Lwatile, and then Omphile. How you guys doing?
Come on out to an outtake, no?
No, I can stress. I was well staying married. C'est under control for the time being. December.
I was just traveling over the weekend, back. So yeah, another episode, huh?
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Bagaetso, ke nna Omphile Ramela. This word of Bagaetso is actually dangerous because we start sounding like Busi.
Yeah. I think we can use it now because that's we can use
so
it.
It's gone back to its originators, but
Yeah.
no, otherwise Kisiamen, and I've just come from training, and the cricket season has started, so that's what it's about at the moment. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. We've been trying to meet for ages now, it feels like, But the good thing is actually we've managed to make time and
do this finally.
Against all the odds.
Mid-season.
And there are plenty. Plenty of odds. But thank you for making
Thank you for gracing us.
Anytime.
We're big cricket fans, obviously, on this show. One of those. It's a sport that we love, have been for years, so it's always a talking point.
Always.
Lately, in negative light, but let's start with positivity. I said to Elle at the beginning of this, drudge of recording that you focus on positivity. There's a lot of things, especially when it comes to administration and that side of things, that lend themselves towards some negativity. But now,
But we will delve into some of them.
Positivity.
No. We have to delve into some of them because then we get a full picture of how cricket works in South Africa, where the challenges are. I mean, Omphile, you're the president.
Yes, of the South African Cricket Association, also known as SACA.
SACA. Yeah. So what you're saying is we have a whole president of a union here, and we can't talk about issues of the workers. No, there's no way. I'm at heart. I'm a unionist.
We can discuss the issues in a positive, in a solution.
No, solution-based.
In a solution-based manner.
Yeah. So I think, without wasting any further time, I think let's just briefly about Omphile. Where are you from? How you got into cricket, and what cricket has done for you. I know it's a longish story, but
it's a long story, but I'm getting better at kind of summarizing it. So I go Meadowlands and the fire. And my background is football, like most kids go Kasi, Tomaga Polo, and then through the mini cricket bakers program, now the KFC program. Cricket, there was this buzz and excitement about this game called cricket, and the schools were really good at delivering the program. So we cricket in the afternoon, and then just before nighttime it's back to football, and you switch whichever way. And then then cricket just happened. Somebody thought I was good, right? And then they're like, hey, this guy, there's something there. And I got offered a bursary to St. Peter's.
For high school?
No, for prep school.
For prep school?
At about the age of 9, 10, somewhere there. Somewhere around there. So then I got offered a bursary to St. Peter's. Then, took it, got boarding and all those facilities. And then from there, I moved to St. John's College for high school. Okay. On a cricket bursary as well. And then from St. John's College, I was fortunate enough as well to get a university bursary. To Stellenbosch University, where I completed a master's degree in economics. So, I'm really grateful to cricket, the game. The game has paved all these opportunities. I've had the privilege and the luxury as well of traveling the world with cricket, and also a bit later on through my studies, traveling to Spain and traveling to India with cricket, Sri Lanka. And
so cricket showed you the world.
Cricket is that type of game. If you're good at it, it's an international game. It's a global game, and it provides exposure. And also even at a domestic level, through the age groups, you still get to actually experience South Africa better than most young people. That's what people don't actually realize. So with cricket, you start. Let's say you make the under 15 provincial team.
Yeah.
You're gonna travel and play in a provincial competition in Cape Town.
Yeah.
You know, for some guys, it's the first time they've been on an airplane.
That is true.
You know?
That's true.
The Craven weeks.
You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so there's so much opportunities to see the world and to see South Africa in all its beauty when you're young.
Yeah.
And when you get older, if you really get to an international level, or at least get close to it, you start to also experience the world on a more global scale. You know, so
basically what we're saying here is get them kids into some sport.
Some sport. Cricket is one of them.
But I mean, the other thing that, as much as I'm telling this in a very enthusiastic and encouraging way, what really saddens me at the moment is actually almost one could call it the death of sport in the township.
In the township.
Sport programs
In schools, in townships,
you know,
yes.
there are no programs. You know,
I feel that because Kahopola and I never had a weekend off.
yeah.
Those are not
All through I think until I was 17. And that's pretty late in life. 17, I would play soccer on the weekend, play sport at school, and you play on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Come back, books.
Books and sport.
And I think, that death is what maybe is also hampering the transformation agenda that everyone is trying to push.
100%. There's a direct correlation between the decline in the programs in the township and just. So what's happened is that there's been
No, can I interrupt? No.
interrupt.
Okay.
We are taking
I understand.
No, allow them. But
No,
Okay.
I'm not offering. You didn't use the sport.
no.
He's
All
our
right. So now we've summed up in as brief as possible. You know how you got into the sport of cricket.
Yes.
Take us through your professional career, what you've been able to accomplish. Again, summarize, and how you find yourself now on the back end of the sport, not on the front end, or on the back end as well of the sport. Is that your way of are you naturally interested in you know, how do you end up representing the
players.
players?
Okay. So basically how that journey unfolds is that while I was studying at Stellenbosch, I was playing for Boland, which is the provincial team.
Please come closer.
And then, am I coming closer to you?
No, the mic.
Oh, the mic. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just in case. So when I was playing for Boland, while studying at the University of Stellenbosch, what I found is, wait, I need to tell you this. So, please ask your question again. I'm now going to tell you.
Okay.
How do you get into the profession?
So it's a two-phase question. Your professional career, and maybe some of your highlights, what you've been able to achieve, and how that has transitioned into you now on the, you know.
Cool. Okay, so basically how my professional career started, I had a lot of, what most people don't know is I must have quit cricket twice, where I was like, this is not working for me.
Okay.
And
after turning professional?
Before. So what happened was, when I was younger looking for a bursary to study at university, you know, the unions will come and say, no, we work closely with this university, we can get something.
Yeah.
Then you go there and time was narrowing down on me before I moved to Stellenbosch, and then I found Joburg, there was no university that I didn't have money. That's, you know, like the Fees Must Fall movement was for people like me. That's not challenge. So I went down to Cape Town, got to Stellenbosch, but literally by the grace of God, they offered me a full bursary in a space of 5 minutes.
Oof.
You just arrived.
No. I was going to look for a university. So it was the year before I went to study. So I got there, literally walked to the campus and I asked them, hey, where's the sports department? We're looking for the cricket office. Right? I got there, I was traveling with a friend of mine, so he's like, hey, let me speak to them first before you come through. He speaks to them for literally 5 minutes. Literally. So, and then the guy's like, no, call him in. Calls me in. He says, oh, okay. Let me make a few phone calls. He doesn't even address me. He sits down and speaks Afrikaans there.
What sort of CV of what?
No
where
CV.
You come from?
No, this friend of mine has just baked the story in 5 minutes to say, this is what we need. We've got no school.
What are you going to do?
Then Literally picks up the phone and say, okay, go to this administration office. They will tell you when your exams are, and make sure you're here in January. Everything will be covered from start to finish. So that's how I literally most people 5 minutes. You know, sometimes and that's why I say it's luck and
just sheer balls. It's just sheer balls.
No,
to leave Joburg to go to Stellenbosch and say, "Okay, what let's get it," and for it to work out.
So I had a year at least, but I said, "Hey, let me go." I took a train trip. It was a train trip, and we went together. You know, it was fun.
Yeah.
So, but literally the way it happened, when you tell people will be like, "Listen, you're talking nonsense." I'm like, and I'm still grateful to that old man, Andre. He since my start at the university, he was fantastic. But. And I guess also the way in which he introduced me to Stellenbosch, I thought this is the place where dreams can come true. He's like the magic man, this guy. You know, so and then from there, I played for Boland, finished my honors degree in philosophy. While I was studying. So I did my undergrad in BA, Politics, Philosophy, and Economics. And then when I was done there, I thought, okay, I'm not sure. So then I registered for a degree in philosophy, honors in philosophy, did that. Then I came back to Joburg, thinking, okay, I'm going to play cricket professionally, give it a good shot. Got here, they showed me flames. Matata, man. Hey.
Couldn't get a contract.
I get to this game. I my honors in economics because I was quite passionate about economics as a subject. I really loved it. So I thought, hey, let me just pick up my honors in economics, line up working in the banking sector, and go for it. Right? So started the year, didn't even take a cricket bag. Just off I went. Back to Stellenbosch. But now I had no bursary. The bursary, the luxuries,
it's gone.
So then I kind of made it work and got into the economics department. Also there, some of the lectures was extremely helpful. Got into that. And then what was interesting is that towards the end of this degree, then that's when they introduced the targets in Cricket South Africa to say they need one black African. And so Nabil Dean from Western Province calls me, hey, would you be interested in playing for our Western Province B team? I'm running low on cash, so I'm like, hey, maybe it's time to just pick up the baton for 3 months until this degree is done.
Bring it.
And then, get out of here. So literally in that season, the targets changed. And if you've ever been to Cape Town, I was the only guy there that was black in the cricketing system. And then so I got the first mover advantage in a sense. And got to play for the Cobras, But that was also a baptism of fire because I played about 3 games for the Cobras. Right? But when you walk into a dressing room under targets, you are now that guy who's coming
you're the mark. Like,
you're coming in as a target. But I had played 3 games with these guys and it's just, let me say, the energy was different. The reception was different. It's not like anyone said anything in particular. But the energy definitely was like, hey.
Yeah, these things are intangible, but they
you could feel it.
No, and luckily I can't say I'm construing this because I was there before when there was no targets. Literally just got picked. I think Justin Anton was injured, got played, scored a few runs, and I was in and out like that. And then I came in under a more rigid
structure now.
The energy in the room had changed.
Even for one black guy.
Because you must remember before that teams were chosen on the blanket. You had to have 6 players of color or 5 players of 6 players of color, right, on the field. But predominantly most of those players across the country, they tended to be colored or Indian players. That was just the so the target was always there.
The target, but then
they said they now fixated on
the one African, a black African
in every team, and then it went up year on year until it got to about stabilized at 3 like it is now. And so through that I just made a decision that actually I can make this thing work. And luckily the guys were responsive in the team to say they helped me with my game. A lot of the guys that played international cricket, whether it's Robin Peterson, Vernon, Rory Kleinfeld, all those guys, they were, Justin Kemp was in the team at the time.
Yeah.
So we had a really good, solid set of cricketers that it helped me take my game to the next level.
Okay. So this is at Cobras then?
Yeah, this is at the Cobras.
How long are you at Cobras for?
I was at the Cobras professionally for 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, and
So you were full on Cape Town brew.
Yeah.
You're full on Cape Town oak.
Yeah, so something to that effect. And then so through that, then I became the captain. No, actually, I was in Cape Town, I think 4 or 5 years. I can't even remember the years. So
Honors in oakism.
exactly. So I was there. So then after, I think 2 seasons professionally, or 2 or 3 seasons, somewhere there, I was the captain of the Cobras. And then I had my run-in with a coach, which was quite public in a sense. But like I tell most people, the difference there was I had a different worldview. The Cobras had an old team. Was aging, and I was literally like, we need to take in the young guys and take the blow now. And what I was proposing at the time was at least the idea that, okay, we have almost 4 young guys. 2 of them can't play. 4, we can only have 2 at most. Everyone else must be these mid-level guys with the rest of the other spaces for the young guys, you know. So that was my proposition, and I was literally quite firm about it. I said, that's what I want, or I get nothing, you know. And we also had other issues that kind of transpired from there, which led to a public spat with the coach and all those things. So then through that, actually, that's how, because I went to the players' union to say, listen, we've got a real issue over that matter. To say, listen, we've got a real issue here because this is about player performance, and we're not really seeing this thing the same way. So how do we resolve it? You know, we don't have to be. And this was kind of like before it got out in the public. There was an attempt at a dispute resolution mechanism, and it dragged. So it was about a full year of just
dragging this thing.
No, of trying to work through the differences, because you know you must have an intervention. You don't just wake up and say you have a set of interventions.
And these things must be sort of in the system. And
they must be documented, and you know. So we go through all those hoops, and we go through it quite, at least from a player side. I thought we went through it quite diligently and quite committed, because a lot of the players were after excellence, you know, and just the way we wanted to get there was different to the way at least the coach was trying to get us there. You know, so then that whole process unfolded. After a year, then it just kind of folded in, and there was a new coach, and that was also my time done at
Cobras.
Realistically done, because then the board members think this guy is up to no good. But
let's move him along.
No, I don't Momotoko. But in any case, I left before they could. I just said my work here is done. And some of those players, by the way, it's guys like Hamza, Jason Smith, and George Linder.
George Linder.
Those are
the ones that were in India now. 2 of them were in India now.
So you can see after. So it wasn't that they were saying no. We were disagreeing on timing. I was saying, you lose this. If we lose this whole season, so what? We've been the greatest team for the last 10 years, and right now we know we're not going to have. Let's look at these young guys. They are dominating junior amateur cricket. Let's get them in now in the furnace. Right, and let them learn in the furnace, and in 2 years' time,
with the experienced guys around them,
you bake them now.
You know. So it was, and I mean, how you slice and dice it and arrive at it can be.
It sounds like a difference in approach.
Absolutely. No, it was for me. At least that's
maybe the coach wanted one last hurrah.
No. You must understand. In Cape Town, one thing they're big on, the trophy.
The trophy.
The developmental process, at least when I was there, was. You learned in the fire while winning.
You
don't.
So you can. Then technically that means you can afford one of these guys at a time, because then the other guys must be solid.
I mean, look at the guys that have left Cobras. You look at Clyde Fontaine, Yasin Vali, and while I was there actually. You've got a lot of guys saying, "Hey, you see here, you play you play one game for the Cobras every 3 months. If you don't score 100, there's the next guy waiting in line." That's what it was. You know?
All right,
so then I get.
And then where do you pop up next?
So I pop up next at the Lions. Actually, before the Lions, I pop up at the SACA AGM, and then obviously with nominations, and I joined the Execs there.
Yeah.
Right, and through the Exco. And then in between all that, I moved to the Lions as well.
Was that the beginning?
The beginning of my kind of involvement in the player administration, it's called it, behind the scenes. So then I joined the Exco, and then after joining the Exco, I basically moved from Exco to president through the voting system, right?
Okay.
So I get voted on by the members, and then I'm elected president of SACA, But I'd been in the Exco for about 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so you're well familiar.
Yeah, so I was quite familiar with, and that's how it works at SACA. We really encourage for someone to have been on the Exco to be the president, because you get to at least get the sense of the business first.
Yeah.
So that by the time you go to a higher level, because largely when you're at a presidential level, you're looking at governance, policy, monitoring and strategy, monitoring and evaluation and all that, making sure your systems are actually optimal to serving players.
Okay.
And then below that is the executive group that makes sure they service players really well.
Yeah.
So we really try to get guys that have been on the Exco to be the president, because it's just, it allows for a natural flow of things, Yeah.
Sports administration in the country, and especially the representation and the well-being of
players,
professional sports players, it's quite a contentious issue, right? And not a lot of sporting fraternities have gotten it right.
Yeah, not a lot of federations get it right.
So let's ask the natural question of why.
Can we agree?
Yeah, we agree. No, that is as true as anything.
Okay. So now that we're there,
why is that?
Why do you think, if you look not just cricket, just maybe general and then specific to cricket, zoning on cricket?
So I'm going to come at it from two angles. I'm going to come at it from the political and also from a professional level, right?
Yeah.
Politically, sport is, in South Africa, at least that is, it's become a function of, one, looting and corruption. Okay. And I'm talking at a almost a governance level, whether you go from the Department of Sports and you draw all the way down. Right? If you look at, for example, a sport like boxing. Boxing is like...
It's dead.
It's dead, but boxing, go look at boxing funding. So where's the money going for boxing? So if you look at just that's what it's become. It's become a great tool for anyone who's looking to loot and be corrupt to quickly, because it's not also, nobody has sport on the front NATO here, to say, if sport is collapsing, our society is collapsing. So we always zoned in on education, social issues there. So it's like, if you go and make a big hoorah about sport, there's
bigger issues. There's bigger issues.
Like an after the fact, like an entertainment thing.
Correct. So we still have a very backward approach to sport. It's not a business.
And these are professionals.
You get what I'm saying. So from a top-down approach, we don't see sport as a leg of the economy.
All right.
Let's call it that. Because if you look at the US, sport is $1 trillion business.
And there's so much
around it.
It is a function of, so if the US is thinking about growing the economy, they're thinking about growing the sporting entities. How do we, because
more teams, more colleges, tier one, I get you.
And all of those things that support the professional function as well.
At the top.
We get to see the NBA, but we
don't know who's who.
That underneath,
but they know this kid from high school. They know who you are.
And forget that. Look at the other, let's say the non-visible participant in sport, procurement, food, drinks, equipment. Those are people that are not. Those are businesses. For example, like if you think about cricket, someone once said to me, if you think about cricket balls, right? They are technically, like, if you think about commercially what they are, they're like the arms deal. And if you know how big the arms deal is, and I'll tell you why, think of it this way. Every weekend in Johannesburg, there is roughly a minimum of 1,000 cricket games played, right? Okay. 1,000 cricket games, plus minus. I'm guesstimating. I could be wrong, but let's work with a safer number, which is 500. Let's say 500 sports, whatever. At all levels, school, from the baluka to the professional. They have, all those teams have one thing in common.
Kookaburra.
You start with a new ball.
Yeah.
You never. I go ball
Yeah.
until we pump.
It's a new ball. It's a
It's a
Kookaburra.
brand new ball that costs on estimate, let's say 500 rand.
That's
Two
the
teams.
first. That's
Two-
the first innings.
No, that's one team. Let's say for one team. Let's say they're playing 50 over. That's one
Yeah.
team. So between two teams, get 1,000 rand. It's just a matang weekend.
Yeah.
1,000 rand times 500.
Yeah.
You do the math. You do the multiply, and you just keep going. So
And that's
it-
just one province.
And we're talking one component
Of cricket.
of cricket, which
Yeah.
is a ball.
Not the
And
pads.
this is what is the business of, and in South Africa, we're not seeing cricket as a business.
business.
Yeah.
There are others who are,
general.
you know,
Yeah.
but it is a business. So once we move away from sport being a third and a nice to have, and
Yeah.
see the commercial value that you can derive from it, and also the other social value you can derive from it,
Yeah.
then you're talking a
Yeah,
different
and
ball.
actually valuing the social value
of
the
sport.
social- yeah.
So you also asked about now the second leg I was going to give you is commercially, right? The reason athletes are undervalued, one of the biggest challenges is something called commercial rights.
Yeah.
Athletes themselves don't know the value of their rights.
Okay.
And this is where I'm going to say SACA is by far the best organization in South Africa and close to probably being up there with American sports. And I'll tell you, and I'm not bragging, in terms of
educating.
No, not educating. You see, it's one thing to educate.
Yeah.
It's another thing to secure the rights of players.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
business of sport is about, so when they sell to broadcasters, they're selling rights.
Big
They-
business.
Okay.
Advert, those, if you're in the advert, they're coming
Yeah.
up. Those are your rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So in the past, businesses used to exclude players and treat them like those are not their rights because they pay them a salary.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Be happy to
world sports, world federations in the US, they acknowledge those rights as player rights.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so once in South Africa, athletes start understanding the power of their rights commercially,
Yeah.
and also whether it's human rights or whatever, but particularly commercial rights, because
Yeah.
that's where you're going to derive your value as an athlete.
Yeah. And if you're a professional, this is how you feed your family.
Exactly. So the other leg is, it's not just about, you see, if you go secure your rights individually,
Yeah.
yeah, that TV production company is going to say, well, how much do you want? And then you say, okay, 100 rand. Come to me, 50 rand, 150.
Okay.
If we go together
As a collective.
Yeah.
as a collective,
Yeah.
we say, no, 1, 2, 3. We want 1,000 rand.
Minimum.
Because this is the best line function I'm giving you in a collective pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is that federations and sporting bodies, they get in amongst players.
They
but hey,
divide.
Okay.
Do you want this check or not?
Yeah.
Come to the side.
Do you want this
You
check
get
or
what I'm
not?
saying?
Yeah.
And the more players start to understand their power collectively,
Yeah.
one, commercially they'll be better off, and sport itself will start respecting athletes a lot more.
That is
So, and I think, and that burden is not, don't expect an administrator to be nice about that, because
No.
when he cuts a TV deal, he's hoping to give you the
The
least.
least amount you can
So
probably.
if we go together,
Yeah.
there's no ways, because this is cricket in South Africa, right? This
Yeah.
is all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go together and we say,
One singular voice. Yeah.
one singular voice, one singular issue that you address collectively. Even though you might be a new guy and you're not going to benefit that much, you can't think in short-termism and
You
think.
need to come into a system
What
and function.
you need to say, hey, the system works like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we can do internally, we can always debate about, hey guys, how do we
you cut
thing
up this
better?
cake? Yeah.
But the minute athletes go disjointed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's over.
So it's similar to what basketball in America does.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Because it sounds like when there's a lockout, there is no one who's going to play for you.
That is why a
Local
lockout.
sport that plays, everything chills.
It
TV
chills.
rights chill.
And when they go negotiate the new fee structures, new salary caps,
Yeah.
they go and say, we want the top end of the guys to get supermax deals.
Yeah.
If you have so much experience, this is how much you must be earning.
Yeah.
You get so
Yeah.
so we do at a SACA perspective. We're a bit more aggressive than the lockout method. We say
Yeah.
this is what we want for all our members, right? And then on the inside we can decide, okay, these category players must get that much.
Yeah.
Because As di kgang tsa bona.
Yeah. So you guys said,
So as a collective, we take, you
pool.
bargain based on that.
Yeah.
And I think, a good example where athletes can really leverage their power. Think of Olympics.
Yeah.
Imagine if all the Olympic athletes were under one roof. Right? Then when, is this the IAAF?
IOC and IAAF.
As a class of athletes.
As a class of athletes.
Yeah.
Collectively, we can start deciding the sprint is the one that gets viewed the most. Therefore, sprinters must get a bit more than everybody else because that's where the commercial deals are coming from the most.
Yeah.
Whatever. But if they stood together and went to the IAAF and say, listen, you guys have negotiated a 10 Rand deal. Of that 10 Rand, we want 4 Rand.
And
otherwise, forget this thing.
Or never mind even IAAF. Here in South Africa.
No, exactly.
Let's go. Let's start.
Okay, no, don't. You want to throw us on a tangent, and then I will not come back.
I'm just saying, you can start here because we've heard of the struggles that happen.
Yeah, no.
Where even some of our best athletes don't get the support to go
Anyway.
You must remember, a lot of that type of work, or at least industrial action to some level, it requires an enormous amount of selflessness.
Yeah.
So if you're at the top of the pecking order and I come to you and let's say, for example, you play for Pirates, Sundowns and Chiefs, and there's a creme de la creme there earning 300,000 Rand a month.
And
now we
must have a voice about some lady.
Yeah, who earns the goalkeeper that earns 6,500 Rand a month. You know what I mean? Like these teams that are known to do that.
Yeah, and that's when
the collectiveness of the players come together.
No, that's when the administration or the people on the other side, that's when they thrive the most because we can single you out.
Yeah.
We're not okay. We're not.
Correct.
It's not 300K. And then relate all 6.5K.
I like the way you've put it to say you do it collectively.
No, we have to do it collectively. Otherwise, I'm telling you.
And it's like 200 of you, right?
300 members.
300 members.
300 professional,
cricketers.
Professional and semi-professional.
And senior professional and so all athletes under one roof. And then as to how that thing is split, that's a player issue.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So and the power is there because that's where you initiate a lockout.
Yeah.
Don't want to pay? No problem. Lockout. We're not even gonna fight. We're not even gonna fight that because essentially when players are locking out administration, I can tell you more often than not, the administration is trying to actually just
bulldoze
the players. They're trying to give them a rough deal actually.
Yeah.
They're saying, listen, you're worth 10 Rand, get out of here.
Okay. So
what's been some of the successes that you've seen out of the work that SACA has done? Including in your tenure and before. What's been some of the developments from where player representation was and to where it is and where it is moving towards?
Let me start with a preface that says I think I've probably been the one president who's come in when SACA is at its most turbulent. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not the organization, but let me say it's facing a lot of challenges externally coming into the organization.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but even when I was on the Exco, we've had a lot of victories. Whether it's, if you look at the MSL, what was
that the Super League?
Before it was MSL, what was it? Global.
Yes.
Players stuck together on a cause that, listen, you've given us contract work, we've made preconditions for this, you've got to pay out.
Yeah.
And most people say, but players got paid for doing nothing. No, the reality is you're signing a contract.
And you're blocking out your summer.
You play your part.
You as an administrator, you've got a responsibility. By the time you roll out contracts, you need to know what you're rolling out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your product needs to be ready. You know.
Turn around and say we weren't.
So we managed to get that over the line, and also so one of the big success, and it's a regular thing, is that we sign what we call the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. And those are always tough negotiations because that's where we use the collective bargaining power to bring members together and to just kind of, do the deal structuring from there.
Yeah. Okay.
And those kind of things are extremely powerful because we've gotten good deals over the line for players to make sure that financially they're secure for the next 4 years, and we just keep kind of rolling those on.
Yeah.
And And yeah, so what's been a great success for us is our education program, the Player Plus program.
Yeah.
That's been incredibly powerful. So we have had almost close to 150 odd players studying. We've got almost 90, I think, if I'm not correct, I think close to 90 people that are passing year on year.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and
This is through an educational program.
no, so basically what SACA does, it does the funding for. So if you want to study,
Yeah.
you get funded for whatever course. But you also work with a player development manager who looks at your areas of interest, where you're best, where you might be best suited. Yeah, so that person walks you through that hoop until you do the registering, until you do the classes.
So it's not just a matter of, okay, you had the talent, you got some money for a while, and then afterwards you retire at whatever age, and then how na plan?
No. Yeah, but you know the tough thing with that is that the burden and of that kind of exercise is on the athlete.
Yeah.
We don't split.
I know that South Africa football, for instance, players die by themselves. You know, someone will take a principal position to say, how can you offer me this? And there's nowhere to go. So I think I like that Batupile approach that says, players first, let us first organize, and then we go deal with them.
And what's also been, what helps is that we also set minimums. Like there's a minimum salary at different levels.
Yeah,
you know?
so a floor.
Yeah, we've got a floor, and we've also got a ceiling because of just financial constraints. So it swings within those bounds. So everybody in cricket knows the operating structure, like you know
and it's not a
it's transparent.
It's something that you see in corporate as well, actually, just to make it real for people. That there's a lot of negativity that's caused by the fact that salary structures aren't transparent.
Yeah.
You're banned from telling
Which is against the law.
We're on the same level.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, I think that still applies. But what you definitely know is that if somebody's contracted to the Lions, they're within a particular band.
Yeah.
You know.
So
but what players can do, nothing stops you from going to negotiate for extra, whatever.
Perks,
perks. You know, so some people, but the reality is that the crux of the business is kind of sealed in some type of structure.
You say when you'll earn at least 20 and you'll not earn more than 200.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
so we know the
swings,
band.
everyone is working in that band.
And if you are 5 years in, you know you should be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Which is more transparent than most industries.
Exactly. Yeah. And also it limits the abuse on the minimum side.
Yeah.
Because now without a floor.
Without a floor, I just say come play for the Cobras. I give you shelter, I give you this, and I give you $1,000 a month. Spending stipend.
There's a brand of car.
So where we've had issues, it will be normally at a senior provincial level because in terms of how much they get, there's a cash constraint there. But that's just because cricket, its main focus is largely at the franchise level. So senior provincial, there'll always be there will be issues that come up, but we always try to plug them, you know. But that's also because it's not a foolproof system where it's like got no issues. But like where there's humans, there's always going to be problems that come up and need solving, you know. So we do encounter challenges, but we won't encounter let's call them structural challenges in terms of how we distribute funds and all those things, you know. So
that's clear. So I think we've exhausted this part.
Yeah.
There's a burning issue that I've been wanting to ask.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah, no, there's a burning issue I've been wanting to go into, and it's just I'm gonna start it. The premise will be the tour of India that we just saw, right? Do you think the tour of India, what the results, is showing us the state of our domestic game that we are playing currently?
I'm a player, so I must be careful.
That's why I want to have this chat with you, because you're going to give me a different perspective.
Yeah, so I think, what India is definitely showing us is that we had no transition plan. That's what it exposed kind of for everybody to see. We've had this kind of, and it's exactly the same thing I was telling you about the Cobras, right? So you need to
that's running for a while.
You need to start implementing a strategy of change, you know, in terms of when do you take the pain and how much pain can you take?
And it needs to be intentional and planned.
And also we must admit, guys, you cannot be trying to take pain in international cricket.
Yeah.
That's not, cricket works like this. If the Proteas are not doing well, commercially, we are not doing well.
Okay.
That's the name of the game. And that's what most people, so you can't afford the Proteas to lag for too long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So.
Because the money goes out the game.
Correct, because what brings money into cricket, or into South Africa in particular, is the big tours.
It starts at that level. Yeah.
Correct, it's England, India, Australia. No, Sri Lanka, West Indies, we're losing money.
Yeah.
Because that's over within 3 games.
No, forget that. We're losing money on those things.
With
because
bigger markets.
also the commercial rights for those things are not too big enough.
Yeah.
So that there's a definite challenge there that maybe I think our transition is exposed in terms of as a system. Mm-hmm. But I also think if you look at the modern trend, which South Africans are quite good at catching late, is teams are starting to say, to stay afloat with international trends and to be at the almost cutting edge.
Yeah.
You have to invest in your
Age group.
Ex players in terms from support staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've seen that it's worked for England, it's worked for Australia, it's working for India. So they are reinvesting in the guys that have played the game at the highest level, or at least at some form of level.
That forming the
You get what I'm saying, because also athletes are fickle in a sense that I respect you if I know your credentials.
Yeah.
Especially in cricket, it's a weird thing. Where in soccer, I don't think you need to know if this guy can kick. You need to just follow the system. If you don't follow the system, you can be out. So it's a very different. So we need to be almost closer to those trends and trying to turn the situation around from there, and then you can go into the domestic structure and start setting up a structure that is extremely competitive, that makes it that is where 100 every week it has meaning. That's what you want. You want when you score 100 against any team, it has meaning. So it's one thing to take a fiver or take 100, but once those things have meaning and they're like, listen, that was on a good pitch or on a tough pitch, and this guy's really just,
he's baked. This guy.
Yeah, he's good to go. So you want, that's how you're gonna kind of, at least I see us breeding good cricketers. So we have a challenge. I wouldn't say we are. And also we also have the current challenge of what is cricket going to look like in the next 4 months in South Africa. So
that's where we're going.
So you've kind of.
I'm leading you on. I'm leading you on because that's where I want to take it.
Yeah. So we also have that challenge. So let me hear your question and then I'll take it from there.
So is the current system with the franchise enough to firstly capture all the talent? Because it's 6 teams now, right? Yeah. And then there's the underlying teams that are I don't know what you call the semi-professional.
Yes.
So So there's that. Do you think the current structure then will always then make sure that the cream rises to the top to those 6 franchises? Mm-hmm. Or do we lose some gems that will go overseas? Cold pack it out and then see.
So you lose some people, but we also got to look at who we lost and why we lost them.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've lost predominantly what you call, in a company that we call middle managers, the guys that were ready to go to the next level, your next set of international cricketers. If you look at, Colin Ingram left long ago, but you look at Stian van Zyl, you look at
Simon
Harmer, Carl Abbott, those guys were in and around the Proteas.
They're in the system.
Fringes.
You get what I'm saying? So you never lose someone in the domestic system that's kind of never had a taste. Very few guys so guys either do 2 things. They either leave early and say, I'm never going to make it, let me go. Or they actually work their way into the system, get into a strong enough position, and then they're like, hey, you know what?
It's taking too long now.
Hey,
and time.
There's a calling. So then the guys move for those reasons, and other reasons they say. But I think for me, if you ask me why I do a call pack, the cash value seems quite good,
It's hard to resist.
It's hard to resist,
But to Al's question, do you think the structure that we have currently is
sufficient?
Us retaining talent in the country, and also just from
us
a
making
different angle, us increasing the support base for cricket in South Africa.
So, there's been a number of reports done on this.
Yeah.
That in fact, let me say all the reports I've read, they indicate to one thing. Cricket in South Africa needs 2 more teams.
2 more teams.
That's what the reports say. That's not even my word.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Lalo did an excellent report a few years ago on when they were actually starting to think of the domestic restructure, right? He said, listen, from a financial perspective, from a commercial value perspective, from a playing opportunity perspective, and from retaining a quality and excellence, 8 is the sweet spot. But also 8 is like the political nightmare. Nobody gets their fiefdom. Okay, because there's 12 provinces, everybody wants their own little fiefdom to manage. But so that's what the reports say, and I'm in agreement with it. That 6 we're slightly congested at the moment. 8 releases you, 12 collapses you. That's my. So because what you're gonna do is you're now gonna have X amount of players that were fitting into a particular system that you think is bottlenecked.
Yeah. And there's a bit of outlet.
It's like in the brewer here, if they feel that there's congestion in the tank, they don't just smash the bottom of the entire thing and say, hey, come on. They increase them. You release, or just, you know what, maybe we need a bigger valve, just a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just go, hey, let's say, hey,
just let it go.
This thing. and the thing is, you know, you have to also think about logistically. And I know everyone's saying, well, the two, you would have basically a bringing together of 2 systems, so the senior provincial layer would be gone. That also has its own
challenges, and it's a different.
You know, so you have to think about all these hoops, and I think the challenge there is for at least Cricket South Africa to present in its entirety its plan for cricket in South Africa at that level, to say this is what we envisage, this is how it's going to roll out,
And this is why.
and this is why it's going to roll out this way. And then from there, everybody can look at this thing and say, okay, we will agree or we don't agree. At least there's something. At the moment,
it's just,
nobody knows. Everyone
discussion.
is just saying, hey, SACA's making noise. They don't want this thing.
But what is it? What
I
is
will
it?
say outright, SACA's never said they don't want this thing. We've said, 1, where was this decision taken? What is this decision? 2, this decision is unlawful. Why? Because there is a recognition agreement which states that when you want to enter into a restructure, these are the preset of conditions. And so the debate is about, did they meet those preconditions? So they say they did, we say they didn't. So that is fundamentally where the issue is at. So that the court will have to determine in terms of who's right there. You know, so that's that particular one.
So that kind of gives me a bit more clarity, you know, because you're reading to say there's a dispute, but what it is, we don't know.
The dispute is fundamentally about
whether they met.
So we agree, we have, you know, like the MOU.
For example, this is how we've agreed to work.
This is how we've agreed to work over the next 4 years. Right? So if you say it's going to 12, what happens to the MOU? The agreed structure.
Because it affects also your bottom line. Because now that pilot, there's more players, and are we getting the same?
You can't just say take that divide by 12. What no, you can't.
And where are these teams going to be housed?
No, they're saying they're going to go back. So basically, Gauteng will have a team, then Northwest will have a team, Titans will have their own team, Benoni will have their own team, Western Province, and then you're going to have Portland, Eastern Cape border, you know, that type of thing. But so the dispute is a simple dispute that, okay, 1, this decision is unlawful because we, at least according to our submission, we did not meet the recognition agreement. 2, at a deeper level, what is the state of the financials? Because Cricket South Africa has gone from 600,000 deficit, 200 something, 280. It has fluctuated way too much to at least infuse any sense of confidence about the financial management. The third point is, okay, you want to restructure. Who's getting all the cuts? The players. The fundamental asset to cricket is the players. So how do you start the cost-cutting mechanism? By
cutting players.
By cutting player wages. And that goes back to the point I told you about when there's no unity amongst players. you can bulldoze these things. You force your way in, and you say this is how it must be. And the people that take the brunt of this entire thing are
the players.
athletes.
People that,
Yeah.
And if you look right now, I mean, every week in Cricket South Africa, at least the saying goes, there seems to be a post available. And there is no cuts there, right? There's no,
Yeah.
you know, if we share
Bloated,
the, if we
it looks bloated to me.
if we share the pain institutionally, I think we'll go the distance. But yeah, and that's what the SACA is concerned about, the state of the game
Yeah.
in terms of from a financial perspective. We are concerned about the well-being of cricket and the well-being of players.
Fair.
So once we can, and we're not saying we're right in terms of what we are proposing. What we are saying is at least let's meet around the table
And discuss it.
Let's share notes.
Yeah.
You give us your notes, we'll give you our notes.
So we've heard a lot about this commercial cricket is loss making in South Africa, right? I'm going to just delve straight into whether the MSL, or global as it was called, now it's the MSL again. Is that the solution? Because I think they trying to get into a place where they're trying for quick fixes to their commercial woes that have been well documented. I'm not sure how deep they run, but forget the loss-making series that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So this should be a good summer because the Poms are coming.
Yeah.
Should be a good summer for them.
Yeah.
But now before that, there's potential King MSL that's short in the test season.
Yeah.
it also has its own
That has its own
Implications.
implications for
Yeah.
especially fans. So do you think that that's the solution right now? Is that the right way to go? Did we not miss the boat
Well,
for this tournament?
well, I think partly we did. Like we all know we're almost 10 years behind.
Yeah.
But what I think is the real issue with the MSL
Yeah.
goes back to commercial rights. How much commercial value are they deriving from the product? Okay? And we know that the SABC is the primary anchor of MSL,
Yeah.
which is excellent for the people of South Africa to share in the game, to start to experience. So we're definitely spreading cricket to our people.
Yeah.
So there is almost, there you can't fault the thinking. I think it's excellent. The challenge then becomes how do you balance that necessity with the necessity of commercial viability?
Yeah.
Because those two, you know, those two are inseparable. And that's why I was saying sport is, at least across the world, is envisioned as a business.
Yeah.
But in South Africa, it seems to be it's a business sometimes, but sometimes it has
Political
a developmental role.
Then it's developmental, then it's this, then it's
Yeah,
that.
and
TV rights are involved, then it's a business.
and- you know, and for me, I think it actually has all these roles. It's just at different levels, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
At grassroots, it's fundamentally about development and access and creating opportunities for, you want people to identify with cricket, to say, no, I've held the cricket bat when I was 10 and 50.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity.
So
So
weekend, then
Yeah.
when it's summer, I must have a weekend there cricket.
you get
to one
so
person.
and that's about creating access, you know. But I want to off ramp why that access is a problem.
Yeah.
That access is a problem because the schooling system, as we envisage it and as we execute it in South Africa, is flawed.
Okay.
Right? Private schools have gotten it right in understanding the Holy Trinity. Holy Trinity is educate mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
Which is academics, sport,
Sports,
cultural activity.
Yeah.
Most black people in South Africa don't get access to just that. In fact, that should be made a basic human right. For a
It's
young person.
questionable whether they get the first one, whether they get the mind right. It's questionable.
No, forget. Do they get access to education? Then you're gonna come to quality of education.
Yeah.
But it's actually what people don't realize is, for myself, and that's why I'm a big advocate of the Holy Trinity, because I'm a product of it. I'm like, hey, if I didn't have the sport, I would never had the
To
It's
study.
almost like we've regressed,
Yeah.
actually.
No, well, depending on who you speak to, they're gonna say yes. You
Well,
know?
it depends on what level of society you're in, I guess.
Even at the grassroots level, from what I can see, I think we've we've taken a couple of steps back. It's hard
In certain communities,
Yeah.
it becomes a political topic. That one. So I want to go into that too
No, I'm
much.
just thinking from a sports, from an infiltration of sports
Sports into-
and so like a wholesome education program.
Yeah.
I think we've taken some steps back.
Yeah.
So I think, so now, we had a bit of a chat about it earlier, but I have two things about it. I don't think it's commercially viable right now to have MSL in December, and because it clashes with some big names that would have maybe attract those people to the stadiums, because they will then go play with their national teams and go play Test cricket because that's what they still want to do.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think the timing is all wrong. Maybe if they moved it at a different time of the cricket season, maybe towards the end as the last hurrah of the cricket season,
So after
not
the international tours.
after the tours, because now what you've successfully done is postponed. You've given us 3 tests, so that means the city is not going to get a test.
Yeah.
Have you interrupted the local game as well?
You're interrupting the local game for I think an extra month.
Yeah.
Because the 4-day game is on now, it's going to go on break, then it's going to be international, if I'm not mistaken. It's got MSL, then international. Then after all is done, so maybe sometime in Feb, March, it starts again.
No, so they'll, from January they'll piggyback with the international. So
Okay.
the 4-day cricket will start again, and then towards the end it will be the 1-day competition.
The 1-day comp, which maybe might make some money, because I've seen those games, at least are half full. We once, so at the beginning of the podcast, we used to give regular feedback about the 4-day game, until one day we're like, we can't give feedback on all these draws.
There was a beginning of a crazy season.
So
You know, tell you a story about 4-day cricket.
yeah,
My favorite story, I still remember this guy. So we were watching a game in Benoni.
yeah.
And he walks in, fairly actually well-known guy. He walks in there, coming to watch, I think his kid. So he stands there, and he's like, what kind of game is this that even if you pay poor people to come watch it, they would never come watch it? And that's literally because there was nobody. And here you have the Lions and the Titans are at each other.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's just you and the groundsman.
it's you and it was us, that man where he just like, hey, poor people will not pay if you pay them to come on. What kind of game is this? You know, where even monetary incentive would not have people rock up to a 4-day game. But I mean, that's just the natural challenge of 4-day cricket. You know, to laugh about it, but it's an international trend. We shouldn't think it's a South African problem. It's a global issue where people like, do I want to spend my whole day at the cricket? No, I can do other things with my time. So. Yeah.
That again speaks to these
New age competitions, excitement, and fast-paced world.
And more explosive, you know, sort of
A product, showed yourself.
But I do think maybe it's because I'm passionate about Test cricket and the long format. There is a business opportunity for someone to come in and say, you know what? Yeah, not everybody wants bish bash, but the nice thing about cricket is you can be at the cricket and not be there.
I tell them all the time. Cricket, but like
So the trick there is that how can you get people to come into the stadium, but don't have to worry that they don't have to feel compelled
to watch
the game. Like
participate in
they can participate in other things around the stadium, whatever it is.
Have a grass bank at the Wanderers. That's what.
And I think there's a real like commercializing opportunity for some really smart person, because that's where I see the opportunity. I'm like, what does this game lend itself to? For like people that like suntanning, people that like reading, to a fan, you know. So, how do I draw people into this thing? How do I get them in, and then I make them realize that I would say you always want that sense that, hey, there's a game there. What game is that? But you're not coming here with, I'm coming here to watch cricket.
You're coming to have a family fun day.
You're doing something, and then you just, there's something, they're playing something. That something is called.
But there's enough around me to make sure the kids are excited to what, you know.
Because once you have that type of activity around the ground, you've created foot traffic, you're starting to commercialize the thing, you know. So that's.
You got gate takings.
So anyone who's Somebody might be a bit more creative than that. But there's something.
All right.
So, can I go one more?
Yeah.
Just the Proteas, right? I can't let you go without.
No.
And I'm not gonna. The Proteas, we are faced now with the rebuilding. And there's a rebuilding process that we have to go on. It might take 1 year, it might take 2 years, right? You look at the likes of, like I've mentioned, Zubair was in the team. You look at a guy who's been in around the fringes, Tennis de Brain.
Yeah.
You see, look, guys like that. Do you think they've been given enough chance for them to come back, taken to India and come back, and then, because as it is in South Africa, the media is going to be on them to say they're not good enough. Discard them, we need to go find the next ones. Do you think those kids now who are experiencing what you spoke about when your time at the Cobras, do you think there will be support for the kids like that? Like Zubair, I think I was asking why kids like Yanam and Milan are not in the team, just to give them that around the Proteas setup before they decide Kopak's the way to go.
Well, I think it's a bit harder than that because, like I said earlier, international cricket must come back then. It's not time for training school.
Yeah.
You know, we give you the opportunity on the basis that we think you can get there. You can hit the level.
Make that
You
low.
operate at this level.
You know, So how much time does one have is often a different, and I think that's a prerogative of the selector and the coach.
Yeah.
You know, whether they, like some coaches will be like, listen, be patient with this guy, he'll come good. You know, some coaches will be like, this guy's useless, get rid of him. You know, so that type of judgment call is the prerogative of the management system. And I often say when a team is unstable, there's a lot of opportunities, you know.
Yeah.
So I would definitely encourage that we go the
Patience and build a pool.
Australia when they had that. They built the team around a few guys. They took Dave Warner, Steve Smith, and then they just kind of got a group of 16, 17 guys that were recognizable. And you knew if this bowler is not coming, this is the bowler that's coming.
No,
If this
it's either Pat Cummins or it's either Mitchell Stark or
you get
Holly
what I'm saying?
Hazelwood. You know, yeah.
So you knew their battery of fast bowlers. They said, this is our battery of fast bowlers. These are our top 8 batsmen in Australia.
And
These are the guys we're going to centrally contract. And we're going to run with them for a period of 2 to 3 years.
And now we're building towards another World Cup. Hopefully we win it. But so now that's what Australia do so well. They just know how to rebuild the team to say, look at whatever they call their little tournament and the Shield.
Yeah.
And from the Shield we're going to take these 12. We already have these 11, and from there we're going to consistently pick from this pool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't make it from anywhere else.
No, absolutely.
But
We know what the pool is, and that's what we failed to do. I mean, it's not like we didn't know that Amla was 35 or 36. Well, we might have not known that AB might want to take early retirement.
Yeah.
But you knew it's going to happen. Now we know that Faf is going to leave.
Yeah.
But are we even thinking who the next captain is?
I think those conversations are taking place about the next leadership, you know, in terms of who should be captain, who's suited, you know. What I find interesting is that, you know, this rebuild, you know, England, how England won the World Cup. People think England arrived on this formula. England, when I remember, I think it was 2014, 2013 there.
Yeah.
They were the A side. There's England A side. Yeah. This brand you see at the World Cup.
Yeah.
They were playing it at A side level. Guys like Jason Roy, they were just
smashing.
We were just like, hey.
So, I kind of want you'd have seen them because when they.
Yeah, so you'll be like, hey, what are these guys doing? They are lapping fast bowlers, and you know, it's just you're like, what?
So the aggression was there.
So the brand that they were cultivating, they cultivated it with this crop of guys that started mushrooming 3-4 years later into the national team. But they had already given them license at an A-side level to say, guys, modern cricket, if we're going to win the World Cup, this is how we're going to do it. These are the kind of players we want. If you don't play like that, you're not
going to play in our one day.
They made it very clear that this is what we're looking for. One guy striking at this much, that's how you're going to get it.
All around the park.
And that's why if you see the players that they got in, They just got these guys that were aggressive and they played a particular way. And the people that ended up kind of getting to the World Cup squad were the ones that showed a bit more consistency than the others.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to do if you want to win it, whether it's the T20 World Cup, the
50 over.
50 over World Cup. Yeah. I think we are too impatient with the growth process. Extremely. And the one thing we don't do well is this ladder system, which I think is great. When a guy goes to international cricket and struggles, that's not the time to discard him. The time is to say to him, sir, go to domestic cricket because you felt the heat here. Go show me that you can now transfer the heat onto those guys down there.
Yeah.
He transfers the heat, you bring him back up because it's a confidence building mechanism. And I just don't think we are
I think
cut
Otis
off that
was
system.
I think Otis was getting there.
Gap between the local and the international? You think it's close enough to support?
You know, my experience is like when I played A-side cricket, SAA, I always found on those A-side tours, I'm like, hey, guys, South Africa's got talent.
Yeah.
That was always my thing. My take-home message was like, South Africa's got so much talent. What we don't have, which those guys have, we do not infuse confidence.
Yeah.
We are a very negative society.
Yeah.
Very negative. Like
Positivity. I told you guys.
Positivity.
so I promise you, like you know, I was actually today I was sharing a story with some of the guys that I look at Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, Glenn Maxwell, everyone thinks is like this amazing cricketer, right?
Yeah.
In terms of T20.
Technically.
Now there's a guy we had who was called Rudolf van der Merwe.
Yes.
Yeah? Rudolf van der Merwe was just as good as Glenn Maxwell in fielding. Right? He was
struck the ball
excellent
far.
fieldsman. And he was like a biff basher, like just tried to, you know. And he bowled a bit of part-time spin, which was, at least according to my observation, better than Maxwell. But Maxwell, the way they've just pumped him up, you just think, you just think Maxwell can't, like there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah.
They believe in him.
Yeah.
And if you hear Maxwell talking, you think this guy averages 100 in Test cricket.
He's a superstar. But is that not because cricket is still kind of like a boys' club? So once you get your cap, it's actually up to you to lose it. Like South Africa's, we don't seem to be one to then say, look, Omphile just scored 1,000 runs this last season. We just stick with the tried and tested.
Yeah.
So I mean, boys clubbing that to say once you earn that cap and you play the first 10 test matches, then you're untouchable now.
Yeah.
It's up to you to when you decide when you want to leave.
Exactly. And
Do you think there's that? And
yeah, definitely.
Because then in Australia, if Maxwell does that, then they'll just parachute him to the top of. He's first on the T20 list. Then now he's playing in the 50 over game.
Yeah.
Then eventually get a bag of green.
Yeah.
With us, they might give you an odd one against Zimbabwe, Bangladesh. They move with the game that we played, Buffalo Park, Sandwich Park. You get those ones.
Yeah. So I think there is a bit of that, but I always find with Test cricket, your Test team must be like it can easily become a boys' club because I feel. The best Test teams are the ones that stay together for longer.
Yeah, I understand that.
So because it's just
the culture,
the consistency that's
where
needed.
with one-day cricket, you have the opportunity to introduce new talent all the time, and that talent can break into the Test team that way. So I don't think we often take that liberty to really use the white ball format.
The white ball format, I think I've said it to you before, the white ball format is there for experimenting.
Yeah, and I just think we just gotta we are so negative.
So I believe. So I think I told him one of these discussions. I think I'm happy that Temba's playing white ball cricket, but I hope it doesn't translate into him losing that technical skill. Not going to be a Jason Wright trying to hit everything now at Test level, because he was now the rock.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a pinnacle. It's a thing of you try all these things. You have liberty to try all of these things in white ball. When you get to red ball cricket, then you just go back to. I'm a solid batsman. You're tried and tested. You know.
But there's also something to be said about the Alistair Cook method.
Yeah.
Alistair Cook played a little bit of white ball until he realized that, you know what? In fact, he didn't realize it. The other players realized it for him until they were better than him. But there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? Here, I can be the boss here. In red ball, I can be the boss, and you just become the boss there.
You're just there.
You know, and
then-
yes,
What you specialize in.
it does have some financial implications in that you won't be earning across 3 tiers of format, but you also get
You can
the
negotiate
maximum
the term
value.
now.
Listen, you can get maximum value. You can deliver the goods and perform at that high level. And yes, domestically you can probably afford to play all 3 formats.
Yeah.
But if you are a player where, like I find T20 is a power game. Like if you're like me and you have no power, you inevitably gonna have to score scoops and run well between the wickets and just put the ball into pockets, but ultimately that's never gonna get you into the IPL.
Yeah.
That's never gonna even get you into the Caribbean
Yeah.
or the Bangladesh one.
Yeah.
So you have to weigh up your odds and say, you know what, I can be. At least if I was playing international cricket, this would be my thinking. I'd be thinking about my skill set. This is where I'm excellent. Do I want to play white ball? No.
We go get
Because then that allows me to be in a specialization zone where I excel. There are players where they are fluid across formats and it's easy. It comes for them, That's how
They're
they
technically
work.
gifted, but they have the power game to back it
and
up.
I think at international cricket you can't afford to fiddle around and say
Too much.
Because if you lose your place in the 50 over game, you might as well have kissed that test cap goodbye, right? Because we have a culling off method in South Africa where we never think, maybe he's suited to playing just white ball cricket.
Yeah, it's like
no. What you don't want a blanketing of the player. But what I'm saying is also the player himself
Must be able to choose that.
there's enough. I always say confidence is not necessarily telling people what you can do.
Yeah.
Confidence is telling them what you cannot do.
Yeah.
So rejecting the opportunity, because there is opportunity that will come, play white ball.
Yeah.
Actually, confidence and just self-knowledge is just.
My goal is this one now. I'm focused on this one.
There is that which you focus on expands.
Yeah.
You know,
and a good part of that again is making sure
You know
on the
your
commercial
side
side
of
of things or whatever.
Okay, this is how I make it
You're not
work.
trying to grab every,
and that's why guys that are good at T20, they branch off quickly because they realize, hey,
I can play 6 tournaments in a year, make this much.
The guys are even looking at it easier like this. They say, you know what, 2 months of cricket and 8 months off.
Yeah. I just have to just prove
And then
them.
2 months training before every competition, a month training before each competition.
Yeah.
But you are, and that's what T20 gives you. But those guys are looking at themselves and saying, this is a short lifespan. I've got the power. Hey,
And even
Maximize.
and some of them, someone was saying, having a chat on the internet, and someone was saying some of the best T20 players would probably not make it into national teams.
yeah.
So they know, Jorge, technically, if I were to play a cover drive, conventional cover drive, he can't do it. He doesn't have the patience for him to leave 6
And
balls.
they're not even trying to do that.
Yeah, so he's like, if I need to be able to score 30 of 10 balls, and I'm going to get a contract in India. I'm going to get BBL. I'm going to go Caribbean, and King, the new one, get the 100th. The 100 kid, the new one is, the 100. So, and that's where they're looking at. To put in perspective, Chris Gale is not even in the 100. He wasn't in the 100 draft.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can't judge guys, and it's a product of many other things that are happening in the world of sport as well. So I think it's a natural development in the sport of cricket.
But I also think the gateway to T20 leagues, what that people don't appreciate, is international cricket.
Yeah.
Most South Africans that play IPL or whatever, you don't get in there until you have that Proteas cap. And guys must never underestimate the power of
getting that cap.
No, the Proteas. The Proteas is in cricket. It's a powerful brand. It's globally, and I mean, especially in the cricketing fraternity, that's a powerful brand. And I think, and that's why I keep saying we like the confidence. It's not a South African thing, because if you know you've got such a powerful brand that's respected by every single country that plays cricket, you need to make
leverage.
this thing work. Like,
Leverage the brand.
This is not the brand that should be in dispute. Like, like for what?
Yeah, should be in the big discussions with the big boys.
It should be a brand about, guys, how do we now make sure that the next 5 to 10 years we are going to dominate international cricket?
Yeah.
And get us a rightful seat in those countries that get five test match tours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those ones.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be.
SACA and Cricket South Africa in short should be in a dispute about, guys, how do we get from an administrative perspective and you guys from a player perspective, how on earth do we win the World Cup?
Yeah.
That should be it's a robust debate. It's a positive debate.
Yeah.
It's about what we want to work.
Structure.
And whether we're right or you're wrong.
Because that's what it is. Actually, you've summed it up. And I always say, guys, it doesn't matter if I'm right or they're right. The reality is, if cricket is not right,
then there's nothing that's happening for future generation of
you
cricketers.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there'll be people who will be the lost generation. We'll miss talents because we're busy squabbling over those things.
I think we've eaten enough. This is well beyond plans.
I can go on, but I shall not. But in short, thank you very much for coming and chatting the cricket pod.
No, thanks. Thanks a million.
Yeah, you're a legend for that.
A friend of TWS now.
No.
I think a discussion that Lloyd Dealer definitely I know has been to have for quite a while because we, on our side, we speculate, we read articles and whatnot, but it's good to get an insider view as much as possible and a professional.
Yeah.
The other side for especially black children who will never hear the other side of the commercial side of cricket, how it works. Well, they might have a rough idea.
Yeah. No, I also just want to thank you guys, the TWS community for just listening and just sharing our stories. Yeah. Because that's fundamentally what it's about. You don't know who finds power in these stories and who finds inspiration. Yeah. And I think you guys are doing a fantastic leg, particularly in promoting sport and promoting different voices in sport. Yeah. And hopefully I can get some of the guys in cricket to come chat about, far less dense and far less tense issues. But I think for me personally, I think we don't have enough of these platforms, even on some of our major radio platforms. We are not having conversations that are moving us, or at least getting us closer to what makes things work. How can we, as black people, how can we empower ourselves? Where is the information trail? And I think we just got to start sharing information about where one comes from, what the experience has been. How can I empower? You
this is what I want to do. What advice you have for me?
And I think there's so much power in that, and we just got to keep sharing the love, man.
Thank you for sharing your love and a bit more of your time than what we had planned.
No
Guys,
problem.
It's been another great episode.
Would be remiss if Springboks.
Absolutely.
No, you
I can't believe we actually did it.
No, you. Springboks won.
Yeah.
Final against England.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make another outlandish prediction and say Springboks by 10.
We're never gonna hear the end of this.
Springboks by 10. I'm cool.
By 10.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
What's your prediction?
Before my prediction, I think before we even get any further, we must congratulate Siya Kolisi and his team. I think if you think where Rassie Erasmus took this team and where it was when he got there and the kind of changes that he initiated, and there was a loss of confidence for a period of time in terms of in the Springboks, and he just said, guys, hang in there, trust the process, and I think up until this point, we've got an enormous amount to be proud of, and that team has they've excelled beyond our expectations.
For the worlds,
and
for that matter.
More importantly, they're not even playing we have not seen that team at their best. So we have no doubt that those guys are going to deliver excellent results over the weekend, and we are expecting victory, right?
That being said, prediction.
Prediction, the Boks will win. Scoreline, I'll take whatever. A win is a win.
A win is a win.
This is a cup game.
You need 1 point more than the other guy.
And coming from a cricket circle, we ain't even got World Cups. So, hey, I'll take the box as a. In fact, they must come put it in the Cricket South Africa office and just to give us inspiration for the 4-year cycle. So see ya. When you guys get that trophy, come drop it off in cricket, just so that we can collect, whatever it is. You guys would have done it 3 times, man. So
winning spirit going.
exactly,
I think my prediction. I think I see it being a tight game. I think Springboks by 2.
Springboks. That's what's important.
That's it.
Chief final. I can't be.
And everyone, so someone was like, how we play boring rugby. I'm like, I don't care how we play. Watch the final. Rassie was playing for the final. And that's how finals are played. And I have faith.
Those tournaments are what we see it in all codes of sport. It doesn't all have to be pretty. In fact, none of it has to be pretty.
No one will remember how many tries you scored in the pool games.
Exactly.
But in any way, thank you very much for pulling through.
Thank you.
You guys know what the story is. TWS _SA is where you can catch all of our social media. So we're on Twitter, on the gram, on Facebook.
The weekend specials.
This episode will be on YouTube this time around. And the podcast is of course available on everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcast, IONO, Google Podcast,
Castbox, everywhere.
SoundCloud.
Excellent.
Please do interact with us on the social media channels. Thank you.
And follow your Twitter handle. So
O_Ramela.
Yes.
If you want to follow Twitter, that's about my most interesting page. The rest,
I like that page, so we had to plug that one in.
All right, guys, it's been a great episode. Thank you for checking us out. TWS episode 55.
And out.
cheers.